Well, when I begin to make a documentary, I do a bunch of research on the topic. For instance, in the documentary that I've made about lionfish, I started digging around the internet in dive communities of South Florida to find out in the field of water conversation would be a good source to use. I always want to make sure that those who appear in my documentaries have the basic knowledge of the topic. For this film, I was able to find professionals in the field right here in South Florida. Andy Dehart is at the Frost Museum, Steve Giddings is with NOAA, and Lad Atkins is with Reef in the Keys. Bringing in professionals of this caliber to my documentary gave it a professional feel. And when I begin to make a thriller, I pay careful attention to the background sounds, the lighting, and the camera angles. Yes, the actors are important too, but with film editing, I can manage to make the actors with little experience look pretty good on film. For instance, when I made The Hitchhiking Zombie, the female actress had never done a movie role before, and she had a hard time not laughing during the recording of each scene. Luckily, the filming was done at night, and lighting helped cover up many of the mistakes. During the filming of JoJo, the same actors were used. However, this time, both actors did a much better job, and because of this, required much less editing.
Oh my gosh! What's happening? Oh, what do I do? How?
For this film, I had to deal with background noise that had to be cut from the shots, such as a neighbor's lawnmower, and dubbed in news sounds to support some of the scenes. Since this movie required a crew, I had to coordinate with everyone's schedule to set up the best times to tape. I also incorporated breakaways, green screen, and puppetry in this film to bring it to life. But when I get into character for a movie or play, one of the first things that I do is watch how the actors act out the scene that I'm about to perform. I took this one acting class where we were supposed to do a monologue, and I chose to do mine on the 1980 movie The Shining, which is probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It was the scene where Jack Torrance tells his wife Wendy not to interrupt him while he's working, and he explodes into a stressful fit. And when I did the scene, I became Jack Torrance. I gathered up all the rage and stress that the character was experiencing in the scene.
Whenever I'm in here, you hear me typing. Whether you don't hear me typing, what the you hear me doing in here, when I'm in here, that means that I am working. That means don't come in.
Whenever I'm in here and you hear me typing, whether you don't hear me typing, where the you hear me when I'm in here, that means I'm working. That means don't come in. I also did a scene from Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events. It was a scene where the Baudelaires serve puttanesca to Count Olaf and his theater troupe, and then Count Olaf asks the Baudelaires where the roast beef is, and they say,
But you didn't tell us you wanted roast beef.
So then he gives them a very intense lecture. I love Jim Carrey's performance in this movie, and when I did the scene, I tried to mimic his posture, movements, and voice, and I got so into it that I think it surprised the students who were playing the Baudelaires.
All I ask in return is that you do each and everything that pops into my head while I enjoy the enormous fortune your parents left behind.
All I ask in return is that you do each and everything that pops in my head while I enjoy the enormous fortune your parents left behind. And I guess that you could say that explosive behaviors and the roles that I enjoy playing are out of my own personal character. Fine. Why don't you start right now and get the out of here?